Yeah, so kind of staying with that same notion, Matt Stafford to go over 282 passing yards in this game. Earlier in the season, when he faced the Buccaneers, he went way past this number, 343 passing yards in that game. This is a different looking Rams team than when we played them earlier in the year. Yes, they lost Robert Woods, but they replaced him with Odell Beckham Jr., who's looking like the old Odell Beckham Jr. as of late with all the catches that he's getting. When you have someone like Van Jefferson, who's like the wide receiver 4 on this team, that just says how talented this offense is. And look, they won that game last week. Cooper Kupp was barely even involved. It took him until the fourth quarter to even get his 5th catch. If he's more involved in this one and what's a closer game, he's going to go sailing over those passing yards. He didn't need to do it last time. Don't be scared by that. Take the over 282.5 passing yards for Stafford.
All right, which player prop catches your eye, Jules?
Yeah, I like Steve's play there on Stafford. I actually like both quarterbacks to go over their passing yard totals in that game. We should see a lot of airing the ball out. I'm going to go to Green Bay, who I was going to use as my best bet for a spread off the top, but I had to combat Stephen Pearce and tell him why the Titans are going to win and cover. So we will go to Green Bay now, where Davante Adams, lay a little juice, but minus 135 anytime touchdown score. Just lay it. It's a big game at Lambeau, cold out. What does San Francisco do? They stop the run. Not as good against the pass. The first time these two teams met, 18 targets for Davante Adams. He caught 12 for $132 and did get into the end zone. Throw away the Lions game in Week 18, which the Packers only played their starters part of the game, and you go to Davante Adams' last 4 actual games. He has 6 receiving touchdowns in those games. Davante Adams, perfect matchup, perfect spot in a gotta-have-it game at home. He's going to get into the end zone. I'm comfortable laying the juice.
Pearce, who's in a good spot?
Give me another premier wide receiver, Jamar Chase, over 76.5 yards. Yeah, that's a big number, but he goes over this. No defense can stop him this season. The only team that's stopping him is his own team when they decide to run the ball. And if they didn't run last week, they're not going to run this week, especially against a Tennessee team that's limited fantasy points, 2 running backs. They're number 1. And that's against a pretty soft schedule. But also against that soft schedule, they've allowed the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers, over 3,200 receiving yards. Jamar Chase should absolutely destroy this number. Case in point, final week of the season, Danny Amendola at over 100 receiving yards against this team. Jamar Chase should be able to clear 100 pretty easily.